Mr. Daines is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank all of you for coming here today to testify on the National Guard and the Reserve budget request. The National Guard and Reserve Forces played a significant role in the war on terror over the past decade, and they will continue to play that significant role as our nation faces increasing threats abroad. In my home state of Montana and throughout the United States, these vital members of our military are also key members of our communities. I'm very proud of them, and I'm thankful for what you do, what they do to serve our country. I want to pivot over and chat a bit about the Modular Airborne Firefighter Systems, or MAFs. It's used throughout the country to allow the National Guard C-130 aircraft to provide incredible fire suppression capabilities. Unfortunately, we don't have MAFs in Montana, but we do have C-130s that can be fitted with MAFs, and we do have a lot of forest fires. In fact, the third most forest fires out of the states represented in this room. It's my understanding the MAFs are located in North Carolina, which previously flew all the way to Montana to provide support, and they're now available to be transferred. So my question, General Neal, do you agree that it might make sense to station the MAFs in states that are most utilized, like Montana?
Senator, interestingly enough, I was a North Carolina Air Guardsman, and I flew MAFs out of North Carolina to Montana. I will tell you, it does make sense to have the MAFs units based in the western part of the country. And to that end, as you I think believe alluded to, the North Carolina Air National Guard is converting the C-17s and giving up their MAFs mission in the C-130. And so we're working with the Forces Service to identify, what capabilities, what metrics they want to use to base a new unit, and we'll look at all that. And one of them is, I would say, geographic location. So Montana is definitely one, as far as geographic location to the fires, definitely in the top three, and they're doing a great job with conversion into the C-130.
I guess I'd ask, can I get your commitment to work with me after this hearing to working me in those MAFs to Montana? I'm glad we're in the top three. I'd love to get them up to #1 here.
So we've got to take that for record.
All right, thank you. I want to chat a bit about tribal health. Montana is home to 12 federally recognized Indian tribes, 7 Indian reservations, and the state-recognized Little Shell tribe. Unfortunately, one of the challenges that tribal members face, given the rural location, is access to timely and quality health care. I want to thank the U.S. Army Reserves for helping to fill the gap in the past through innovative readiness training and for upholding the United States trust responsibility to Indian tribe, providing health care while honoring the government-to-government relationship. Exercises like Walking Shield, which brought in 22 Army Reserve medical professionals to the Fort Belknap tribe in Montana last year, allows the community to get valuable medical assistance and gives our service members real-world training. General Talley, what other roles can the Army Reserve play in providing support to our tribes?
Senator, thank you for the question. As you alluded, our 7243 Medical Support Unit, which is actually out of Vegas, went to Montana to provide really medical support while they were doing Title X training to our Native Americans. And we do these sort of missions every year around the world, actually, whether it's MedReds with the Navy, I think southeastern Missouri, we had medical teams down there providing medical support to some of the disadvantaged populations. And so for us, we see this as just a good way of training our soldiers and allowing them to help communities, specifically some of our disadvantaged communities like our Native Americans. Because most of your Army Reserve is technical enablers, most of the doctors and nurses are actually not in the Army or the Army Guard, they're in the Army Reserve. Almost all the majority of the medical capabilities in the Army Reserve. So we love doing those types of missions, and we're always looking for opportunities because those are great training missions. They improve our technical and tactical capability. They also, to be frank, are motivating for us to retain and attract soldiers. And so anything else we could do in Montana, we're happy to do it.
Anytime we get them out of Vegas up to Montana, it can be motivating. I can see
well,
that.
I want to make sure I sent you.
The fly fishing's better up there, yeah.
Well, I used to be on a board of Montana back before I came back in office at one of the universities, so I love Montana. But we've got about 1,000 folks in Montana and about 22 units and 14 facilities. But I promise her I'll take a look at it.
Great.
For the record.
I guess the question, does the Army Reserve, do you have the funding this year that you need to continue these important exercises?
I'm sure it's like everybody up here. We don't have any new money, But what we look at is, we look at where do we get the biggest return on the investment for, in this case, the citizen soldiers. So if I have a medical unit, an engineer unit, a logistics unit, not all of those enablers can get to a CTC rotation just because the CTCs, whether it's the NTC or the JRTC, they can't handle that capacity of enablers. So we often find that these sorts of support missions really are the best ways for our soldiers to train and practice their craft while helping others. And so I have sufficient funding to continue to support that, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.